Picture this: a skyline filled with towering skyscrapers, grand plazas lined with trees, silent highways all stretching as far as the eye can see. But something's off. There's no rush hour traffic, no people, no life. Welcome to China's ghost cities, where entire urban landscapes stand empty, built for a future that never arrived. Why would China build dozens of massive modern cities only for them to remain eerily silent? Today, we're uncovering the truth behind these abandoned megacities, exploring the motivations, the debt, and whether there's hope for a comeback. If you're fascinated by stories of mega projects and urban mysteries, make sure to subscribe. This story starts with an economic boom. In the early 2000s, China was on a mission to modernize fast. Their urbanization drive saw the creation of entire cities from scratch, a massive attempt to build a foundation for the future. But here's the twist. While some projects thrived, others faded into obscurity. It's not just one or two cities that are sitting empty. As of now, there are around 50 ghost cities scattered around China. Places with high-rise buildings, sprawling parks, and entire neighborhoods that never saw a single resident. These aren't incomplete projects either. Many are fully built, equipped with schools, malls, theaters, and everything you'd expect in a thriving metropolis. The only thing missing is the one element no city can thrive without: people. Imagine a city ready to house thousands, even millions, left completely empty, and one of the most striking examples is Kangbashi in the city of Ordos. But what if I told you that one of China's most notorious ghost cities is now a thriving metropolis? This is the story of Kangbashi, a city that went from being a $160 billion mistake to one of the most fascinating urban development stories of our time. Picture this. It's 2010. A journalist from Time magazine lands in Inner Mongolia and discovers what looks like a CGI movie set. A massive modern city with barely any people in it. Skyscrapers? Empty. Shopping malls? Deserted. Parks? Just the sound of wind. This was Kangbashi, a district of Ordos City that would soon become the poster child for China's alleged real estate bubble. But fast forward to today, and you wouldn't recognize the place. Back in 2000, Ordos City was sitting on a gold mine, well, actually a coal mine, with some of China's richest coal and natural gas reserves. Local officials decided to do something unprecedented: build an entirely new urban district from scratch. They called it the Xingchunshan Development Zone, later renamed Kangbashi. The plan? Create a modern paradise in the desert that could house up to 1 million people. Price tag? About $160 billion. That's more than the cost of building Dubai's Palm Islands. By 2006, the government went all in, moving their offices to Kangbashi. They built massive government complexes, a world-class museum, state-of-the-art sports facilities, luxury apartments, and high-end shopping centers. There was just one tiny problem: nobody came. By 2010, this city built for 1 million people had only about 20,000 residents. That's like building a massive NFL stadium and only filling the first few rows. But here's where it gets interesting. While the Western media was writing Kangbashi off as a massive failure, something remarkable was happening on the ground. Housing prices started climbing, up 50% by 2015. Businesses began moving in, 4,750 by 2017. The population grew to 153,000 by 2016. And this wasn't just random luck. The local government had a strategy. Number 1, they made Kangbashi an educational hub. Number 2, they offered incentives for businesses. Number 3, they kept building infrastructure. And number 4, they maintained the city even when it was empty. As of 2021, Kangbashi is practically unrecognizable from its ghost city days. Previously empty apartments are now sold out. New high-rises are under construction. Schools are packed with students. So what can we learn from Kangbashi's transformation? Patience in development. Sometimes if you build it, they will come actually works. But it might take a decade or more. Infrastructure needs to come before population. Economic foundations matter. Kangbashi had strong backing from natural resources. Government commitment was unwavering. Education became a key driver. Market evolution. What looks like a failure today might be a success tomorrow. Real estate markets can take time to mature. Population growth doesn't happen overnight. What's next for Kangbashi? The city continues to grow, with new educational institutions opening, more businesses moving in, rising property values, and increasing population density. Kangbashi's story isn't just about a city that beat the odds, it's about the power of long-term vision and patience. While the rest of the world was laughing at the ghost city, China was playing the long game. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Next up is the rise and fall of China's first oil city. In the harsh deserts of western China lies a city with a story as rich as the resources that once flowed beneath its streets. Welcome to Yumen, the Jade Gate city, that transformed from an ancient Silk Road outpost into China's first oil empire, and then into a modern ghost town. 2,000 years ago, caravans loaded with precious jade passed through this remote outpost, giving Yumen its name, the Jade Gate. Since the 2nd century BCE, this harsh landscape marked the edge of Chinese civilization, a crucial checkpoint where the East meets West. But in 1939, everything changed. At a place called Lao Junmiao, the first drops of black gold were discovered, setting off a revolution that would transform China. By 1957, Yumen had become something unprecedented, China's very first oil industry base. The numbers were staggering. This single city produced nearly 88% of all of China's oil. Workers flooded in, buildings rose from the desert, and a modern industrial giant was born. But today? The streets that once bustled with over 100,000 people now echo with emptiness. As the oil wells ran dry, an exodus began. The government offices moved, the oil companies departed, and nearly 90,000 residents followed, leaving behind a shell of what once was. Yet Yumen refused to disappear completely. A new city has risen nearby, where thermal and wind power plants stretch toward the sky. Factories producing machinery and chemical fertilizers hint at a possible future beyond oil. The climate here remains as unforgiving as ever, a cold desert where temperatures swing wildly and rain rarely falls. But modern highways and railways now slice through the landscape, connecting Yumen to cities like Langzhou and Urumqi, keeping this ancient crossroads relevant in a new era. Yumen stands as a testament to China's relentless drive for progress, and a reminder that even empires built on oil must eventually find new ways to survive. From jade to oil to wind power, this desert outpost continues to reinvent itself, writing new chapters in its remarkable story. Next is China's surreal Parisian dream. Imagine waking up in Paris, except you're in China. Welcome to Tianjuqiang, a slice of France dropped into the heart of Zhejiang province. Built in 2007, this surreal replica city stands as one of China's most ambitious duplitecture projects, where Western architecture finds an unexpected home in the East. At its center, a 354-foot Eiffel Tower, one-third the size of its Parisian cousin. Around it, Haussmann-style apartments and ornate fountains create an uncanny valley of European architecture. But this isn't just an architectural curiosity. Today, around 30,000 people call Tianjuqiang home, living out their daily lives among classical French gardens and street signs written in both Mandarin and French. Originally designed to house 10,000 families, Tianjuqiang tells a story common to China's replica cities. Initial excitement gave way to years of vacancy, earning it the label of a ghost city. But like many of China's ambitious developments, patience proved key. What was once dismissed as an empty folly has gradually found its footing. Young couples pose for wedding photos beneath the tower. Local businesses have moved in, and increasingly Chinese tourists come to experience Paris without a passport. In Tianjuqiang, we see a uniquely Chinese approach to urban development. One where cultural fusion creates something entirely new. It's neither purely French nor traditionally Chinese, but rather a bold experiment in global architectural appropriation. What started as an ambitious real estate project has evolved into something more, a living community where East meets West in the most literal sense, and where the dream of Paris lives on, just with Chinese characteristics. This is Tianjuqiang, where French romance meets Chinese pragmatism, and where imitation might just be the sincerest form of civilization. Next up is China's Wonderland, the Disney dream that never opened. On the outskirts of Beijing, surrounded by cornfields and villages, stands a haunting reminder of ambitious dreams left to decay. This is the story of China's Wonderland, the abandoned Disney of the East that never opened its gates. In the mid-1990s, developers had a grand vision to build Asia's largest theme park. The plan was massive, 120 acres of magic and wonder that would rival Disneyland itself. The price tag? A staggering $120 million. Medieval castles would pierce the sky. Princesses would roam fantasy streets. Children would laugh in the shadow of towering fairy tale spires. At least, that was the plan. But by 1998, everything stopped. The spell was broken. Construction crews vanished, leaving behind a skeleton of steel and concrete. The culprit? A deadly combination of financial crisis, land disputes with local farmers, and disagreements between developers. For over a decade, these ruins stood as an eerie monument to failed ambition. Concrete turrets became a canvas for graffiti artists. Castle corridors echoed only with wind. Local farmers planted corn in the shadow of would-be roller coasters. In 2013, the final chapter was written. Bulldozers arrived to demolish what remained, erasing nearly all traces of the ghost park. But the story of Wonderland lives on, a cautionary tale of economic hubris and dreams too big to sustain. Just 45 minutes from Beijing's gleaming skyscrapers, Wonderland became an accidental tourist attraction, drawing urban explorers and photographers who found a different kind of magic in its decay. Today, the cornfields have reclaimed most of what was meant to be China's answer to Disneyland, but in photos and memories, Wonderland remains a fascinating footnote in China's rush toward modernization, when ambition outpaced reality, leaving behind a very different kind of fairy tale. This was China's Wonderland, where dreams of magic and wonder collided with the harsh realities of development, leaving behind only ghosts of what might have been. Next up is Beijing's forgotten European dream. In the eastern suburbs of Beijing, nestled among highways and high-rises, lies an unexpected sight: streets of Austrian architecture, complete with Baroque facades and Alpine details. This is Tonghui Town, one of China's earliest experiments with European-styled communities. Built in 2001, this ambitious development was meant to be Beijing's answer to European living. The vision? A slice of Austria transplanted to China, complete with detailed replicas of buildings from Hallstatt and other Alpine towns. The attention to detail is striking. Decorative window frames, carved wooden balconies, and stone facades that could have been lifted straight from a European postcard. Even the street lamps and public squares were designed to evoke the charm of an Austrian village. But like many of China's architectural experiments from this era, Tonghui Town tells a more complex story. What was envisioned as a bustling community of European-style living became something else entirely. Today, many buildings stand partially occupied or empty. The streets, designed for casual European-style strolling, are often quiet. Real estate agents' signs dot windows, hinting at dreams deferred. Yet Tonghui Town persists, neither fully abandoned nor fully realized. Some businesses have found homes here. Occasionally, wedding photographers bring couples to capture their memories against these unexpected backdrops. As Beijing has grown around it, Tonghui Town has become a curious time capsule, a reminder of an era when China's developers dreamed of importing not just European architecture, but European lifestyle itself. It stands now as both warning and wonder, a testament to China's bold architectural experiments and the challenges of transplanting one culture's urban design into another's reality. This is Tonghui Town, where Austria meets Asia, and where architectural ambition created something uniquely Chinese, a European village reimagined through Beijing's lens. Next up is China's abandoned British paradise. Imagine walking through a perfect British town, except you're in China. Welcome to Thames Town, one of the world's most fascinating ghost towns. This isn't London. This isn't even England. You're standing 30 kilometers from Shanghai in a billion-dollar replica of a British market town that almost nobody lives in. But why build a piece of Britain in China? And why is it empty? In 2001, Shanghai had a problem. The city was bursting at the seams. Their solution? One city, 9 towns. A massive development project creating themed satellite towns around Shanghai. Germantown, Dutchtown, and yes, Thames Town. The attention to detail is stunning. Tudor houses with authentic tiles imported from England. Victorian terraces that could be straight out of London. Even the pub looks like it's been serving pints for centuries. But here's where things get interesting. While real British towns are full of life, Thames Town is nearly empty. Well, except for one group, wedding photographers. Every day, dozens of couples pose in front of these perfect British backdrops. The problem? Most properties were bought as investments, not homes. Apartments that cost millions sit vacant, their owners waiting for property values to rise. So now we have this, a perfectly preserved piece of Britain, frozen in time, a town built for 10,000 people that's become an accidental tourist attraction. But Thames Town isn't just a cautionary tale about real estate speculation. It's become something else entirely, a fascinating experiment in cultural fusion. Where else can you see Chinese guards in British royal uniforms, or eat authentic dim sum in a Tudor mansion? Thames Town stands as a monument to ambition, a reminder that sometimes our grandest plans take unexpected turns. In trying to build a piece of Britain, China created something entirely unique, a ghost town that's somehow full of life. If you enjoyed this strange tale of cultural fusion, hit subscribe for more mega content, and let me know in the comments, would you live in Thames Town? Next over to China's Manhattan, the $30 billion ghost city. This is Manhattan, or at least it was supposed to be. Welcome to Yujiapu, a $30 billion replica of New York City sitting empty in northern China. The skyscrapers are here, the waterfront is here, but something's missing: the people. This is the story of how China built a copy of Manhattan and why nobody came. The year is 2009. China's economy is booming. Property prices are soaring, and in the port city of Tianjin, local officials have a dream: to build Asia's new financial capital. The plan was ambitious: 47 square miles of ultra-modern development. Not one, but two business districts, Yujiapu and Xiangluan, a high-speed rail link to Beijing, even a Juilliard school campus. Money poured in, cranes dotted the skyline, buildings rose from empty fields at an astonishing pace. But today, these towers tell a different story. Most of these buildings have never had tenants. The massive mall echoes with emptiness. The streets, designed to buzz with bankers and traders, are hauntingly quiet. And it's not just Yujiapu. Next door, Xiangluan faces the same fate. Two ghost cities side by side, monuments to ambition, untethered from reality. The numbers are staggering: $30 billion invested, over 100 skyscrapers built, less than 10% occupancy rate. But something unexpected is happening. Nature is slowly reclaiming parts of this concrete jungle. Wild grass grows between perfect sidewalks. Birds nest in empty penthouses. Recent years have brought some signs of life. A few companies have moved in. The Juilliard School opened its doors. But the dream of a new Manhattan? That seems further away than ever. This is more than just a story about empty buildings. It's about the fine line between ambition and reality, about the risks of building cities for tomorrow before understanding the needs of today. As China grapples with its property crisis, Yujiapu and Xiangluan stand as cautionary tales: perfect cities, perfectly empty, waiting for a future that may never come. What do you think? Can these ghost cities ever come to life? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more mega content.